Hey guys, my name is Adam and I'm here with a multiplayer battle replay from the game Empire Total War. So, if you know anything about Empire Total War or any of the Total Wars in general, you'll know that after a multiplayer battle you get the option to save a replay, which you can then go back and view. And that is exactly what I am doing, and I'm commentating over it. So, in this matchup I'm playing as the United States, and my opponent located over here is playing as the Spanish. Alright. So, taking a quick look at army builds, I have 4 sets of minutemen, 3 sets of line infantry, my general's bodyguard, and let's see if we can spot the general. Looks like him. He's the one with the white wig, which generally symbolizes, well, a leader, I guess. I have 2 sets of 12-pounder howitzers, and 2 sets of regiment of horse. Taking a look at my opponent's build, you'll see that he's peppering me with artillery. He has 2 sets of 4-inch mortar batteries, 2 sets of regiment of horse. He has a general's bodyguard, and looks like it's him. He has the white wig, so I'm just going to go on that. He has 4 sets of Irish brigade, and 3 sets of line infantry. So quickly, right off the bat, you probably noticed that I had brought a lot of minutemen, and if you know anything about American history, minutemen are the militia. Very much so. These guys are very ragtag, just kind of picked up from the colonies. Various men who just said, yeah, I want to fight, and then given a musket. So, essentially, I decided to go for a more traditional build with the United States. That's why I'm bringing a lot of minutemen. And I like to keep these battles pretty realistic, just because Empire Total War does really good with catering to realism. Alright, so a quick little discussion. First off, these enemy mortar batteries, I don't feel like they were very worth the money. These things did very, very little damage, and also, you'll see I'm peppering him with artillery now. But these things did very little damage. In general, I don't think the mortar batteries on Empire Total War are very good. Now, as for this, you'll see that I am now firing my howitzers, and boom. First shot. This was literally the first shot with explosive shells, and I just took out 16 men. Now, his howitzers have been firing at me since the beginning of the game because they have a ridiculous range, just absolutely ridiculous. And we'll see that the only damage they did was 3 casualties to this Minutemen unit. Everybody else, I'll even show you, have suffered absolutely no casualties. That is really why I think that mortars are not very good. Especially on a map like this where you have a lot of hills and ridges, howitzers are really more meant for this type of map. I don't know if he just didn't know the map that we were going on, or if he thought that mortars would be more effective, but it really did not work out for him. Now, a couple advantages my opponent has is that he has a cavalry advantage, and the main reason for that, although we have the same type of cavalry and the exact same amount of cavalry, you'll see that I have 2 chevrons, these things right here, these little emblems. I have 2 chevrons on each of my cavalry, whereas he has 3 on each of his cavalry. Consider them ranks. Consider the more chevrons you have, the more of a veteran unit you are, which also increases your stats. And so clearly he has a slight cavalry advantage. It's very, very minor, but he does have one. And one could also say that his line infantry has a huge advantage, mainly because I brought so many minutemen. Now, the huge reason, like, for example, he is using his mortars to target my artillery. But I am not going to return fire on these guys, mainly because they weren't doing much damage to my line, and they're really doing nothing against my artillery. So I'm choosing to focus on his line infantry just so I can soften them up, because I will grant that he does have a slight advantage at the moment. Now, I truly do feel that Minutemen are, I guess, underrated, but I will grant that Irish Brigade will wipe the floor with them in a straight-up firefight. So that is why I am just going to pepper him with artillery until he decides to move. I should also mention that this is literally a spawn. He never moved up from his spawn, and I can't really blame him because mortars are meant to be used at a distance. Although they're not that good, they're still meant to be used at a distance, so at least he tried to use them effectively. But again, they aren't very good, so it didn't do too much damage. You'll see that I have killed even more of his Irish Brigade. He's down to 97 men in this one unit. Looks like I peppered some more. He's down to 95. So, I mean, clearly my artillery is in every single way superior. You'll also see that I moved some artillery up. I moved it closer to the ridge, and this was so essentially, howitzers have a very limited range. The mortars that he has can pretty much reach across the map. My howitzers have a pretty short range, so I need to move them kind of close. And that's why I couldn't start shooting at him in the beginning of the game. So I'm moving this other 12-pound howitzer up as well. You'll also see that he has retreated his Irish Brigade from over here, the one that got shredded down to 94. He figured he was taking too many losses, so he decided that he was going to fall back a little bit, move his Irish Brigade out of danger. But the problem with that is that I can just target any of these other ones. It really didn't matter. You'll see that he's moving his regiment of horses over to his right flank. And I see this happening. I'm going to take a couple pot shots with my artillery, and I'm also moving my cavalry in to support. Alright, so that was just another shot at his line, and look at that. That was beautiful. Also, keep in mind, this unit was at 120, and I just blasted them with one huge shot, and they dropped to 92. So again, explosive shells are awesome. Killed a couple cavalry with that one shot, and you'll see that he's kind of getting desperate now, because I can just keep doing this all day, and he's just going to lose all his men. He decides to do a desperate cavalry charge straight at my artillery, which is not a horrible idea, but he will need to go through this choke point. And as you can see, I am countercharging. I also have my Minutemen very close. This was the huge mistake he made. He brought his cavalry way too close to my line, and that's going to be his downfall. So you see I'm moving my Minutemen around, and I'm going to surround these guys. But here's a little look at the cavalry engagement. Now, keep in mind that he does have that slight advantage in cavalry, but because he took those initial losses from my cannons, and also because my cavalry is near my own line, I'm going to have a slight advantage just in the morale department, which plays a huge factor. So the fight's so far going in my favor, and you can see I am now going to completely surround his 2 units of Regiment of Horse, and you can see that this regiment is now wavering. And there we go. It is fully broken and is now going to retreat from the battlefield. This unit is still holding strong, and he is going to try to retreat it very soon, I should say. Now, I do think that my opponent was new, but in my defense, I am also very new to this game. Empire was one of those games that I just kind of skipped over in the Total War series. I'm definitely an avid Total War player. It's just that Empire was never really appealing to me until recently. But, yep, as you can see, his regiment of horse is going to retreat. And he will get away, but only with 32 horses. Alright, with that done, let's put it on fast forward again, because we're just going to once again be exchanging artillery shots. You will see that he actually did kill my horse and one man from this artillery unit with that mortar. But, again, pathetically weak. I don't know why he chose mortars, I really don't. Anyway, you'll see now that I'm moving up. And this was basically because I didn't want this battle taking forever, and I felt I had done enough damage to his line to advance without too much worry. You'll see that I am now walking, but I'm going to start running here, because as you can see, he is now running, and he's just advancing as quickly as he can. So I'm now going to start running into position, as you can see. I was actually not expecting him to do this. I expected him to sit exactly where he was, but you'll see now that he is unbelievably desperate. He is not going to stop to fire. He's going to charge straight at me. Unfortunately for him, I'm going to get shots off before he can reach me, and I'm going to kind of tear him to shreds. So let's watch opening volley. Now, clearly, these Minutemen do not do very good with volleying. They're not the most coordinated of unit, but they do get the job done. I also have my line infantry lined up right behind, and I am going to start taking pot shots into the huge blob. Now, granted, I will kill a lot of my own men because I'm kind of shooting them in the back, but I'm also lowering the enemy morale at the same time. As you can see, some of them are wavering, and some will break, like the left flank just did. Also, because he kind of blobbed in the center, I have a spare unit on the left flank, and I'm now going to start taking some shots at this unit that is charging at the unit. So yeah, there's a nice little point-blank blast from Minutemen. As you can clearly see, I'm going to start folding up on the left wing, and I also see that his general is isolated. Once again, I didn't know that these guys did not have bayonets, though. So I'm going to charge as his horsemen. The only problem with this is that I can't really beat down horsemen with the butt of my musket. It doesn't work too well. It just doesn't. But at least this is keeping his general preoccupied. It's keeping his men worried because their general is getting attacked. And it's probably causing him quite a bit of confusion because I'm keeping him busy on all lines of the field, including at his general. So, that's good at least. Over here, I'm charging another unit into the general, just to help out. Meanwhile, over here, my Minutemen, or militia, whatever you want to call them, have routed, unfortunately. You'll also notice that he did charge his regiment of horse straight into my Minutemen to make them quickly rout, which is very smart. I will grant that. That was very clever of him. But the unfortunate thing now is that he's dealing with my main bulk infantry, my line infantry, and because he's taken already so many casualties to each of his units, things aren't going to go well for him. And also, his regiment of horses is down to 10 men, and he just charged them straight into my line. Unfortunately for him, my line have bayonets, so they're going to get cut down relatively quickly. He is still charging with some units, but he has decided to take a step back and shoot at me with some. Which, I don't know. I think that, honestly, if you start a charge, you should probably just keep with the charge. Otherwise, you just cause confusion all over the battlefield. Over here, I charge my cavalry straight into his charging units, which is going to cause them to practically instantly rout. They are fighting my line infantry over here, but my cavalry is dealing with them. And as you can see, the line infantry of the Spanish is wavering, and one is just routed, and the other will quickly follow. Alright. So, pretty much the last unit on the field is the enemy general. As you can see, I'm trying to catch him with a line infantry unit and kind of tear him to pieces. Unfortunately, he is going to scoot out of the way a little bit. But that's not too much of a problem. Like I said, he is the last unit, and I still have cavalry. So, let's say we watch the last epic charge of the regiment of horse, straight at the enemy general. Alright. Let's watch the charge, guys. So, the general's trying to escape, but there's no escape. You'll see that he kind of turns back to fight me, but unfortunately, the general routs. But he is going to die. He's right there, and down he goes. So, good game to my opponent, who is named John. And you will notice that we actually deployed the exact same amount of troops. I will say that I suffered far less casualties. And the main reason for that was because of my use of the artillery, and also the use of my cavalry and my Minutemen to kill all the enemy cavalry pretty much before the fight even began. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's take a quick look at unit statistics. I'll just scroll down here for you guys to see. What unit am I actually got the most kills? It looks like one of my Minutemen did, which is very nice. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in a video later today. See ya.